Hi everybody. For today's wine, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite regions, which is Rioja. So Rioja is a region in Spain, sort of north central Spain, and they're famous for their Tempranillo wines, and Tempranillo is the grape. So here we have one by Coto de Imas, and this is a Gran Reserva, so this is a pretty special wine. So Gran Reserva refers to the highest level of quality in Rioja for their red wines. So they need to be aged for a minimum of 2 years in oak barrel. This is actually some American oak and some French oak barrel, and then 3 years in bottle before it's even released. So that's like 5 years before they can even release the wine. So that means that the wine ages, and as it ages, the tannins in the wine become tamed, because these Tempranillo-based wines can have quite a bit of tannin when they're young. So the time in barrel and bottle allows the tannins to be tamed, so when it's released, it's a drinkable wine and not too tannic. So let's see how this one is. This wine is gorgeous. So right away I got the vanilla notes, which is coming from the barrel aging. Lots of dark cherry fruit and sort of a coffee chocolate type of note to it as well. Delicious. So the palate here is very luscious. It's about medium bodied, medium plus, which means it has a good amount of weight on your palate. The tannins are silky smooth, so they're there. They provide some structure, but they're not super harsh. I think what would pair really nicely is something with deep, warm spices. Not really hot or spicy, because especially with red wines, they contain a decent amount of alcohol. And when you put that alcohol with hot spices, it really doesn't work. It actually makes it even spicier. So spices, but not hot ones. I'm kind of vibing something healthy, like crunchy, snacky, a little spicy, something that's gonna hold up to this wine that is a little bit bigger and a little bit more flavorful. So I'm thinking something like a crunchy chickpea with the spices that you will typically find in Spain. So smoked paprika, cumin, maybe some garlic and onion powder to sort of bring it all together. So when I'm pairing food and wine, one of the easiest things to do for you is to remember what grows together goes together. So in this instance, Spanish cuisine and Spanish spices are naturally going to pair well with Spanish wine. That makes things really easy, and it's sort of a back pocket trick that you could pull out at any time. It also applies really well with cheese and regional wines from that area. So we're gonna take that smoked paprika that is native to Spain, and it's like such a Spanish flavor, and we're gonna add it to our chickpeas. And that's gonna bring everything together, and I have a really strong feeling that that pairing is gonna work very well with this wine from Rioja. All right, let's see how it goes. So for most of my videos, I'm using this glass, which I love, especially for white wine and for sparkling wine. Today I'm using a larger bowled glass for this hearty red wine. So I'm doing the Rioja today. So we have this nice large glass. It allows you to swirl really nicely, and because it's a little bit tapered, it's not gonna just come flying out of the glass on me. Now let's do a little experiment. So I'm gonna pour into this glass I would normally use for a white. And we're gonna do a comparison on the aromas that come out of the glass with a smaller shape and a larger shape. So let's start with the smaller. Not good. I could tell immediately. I mean, it's just, let's just do the second one and then okay, so here in this smaller glass, I just get very high toned fruit. It's like, I don't know, almost smells kind of soury. Kind of smells like sour fruit, but it's pure fruit, nothing else. Here, it's unbelievable, the difference. I get those warmer notes, sort of those vanilla notes, the sort of secondary characteristics of the wine, and it's not just tart fruit at all. So it's really unbelievable, the comparison. And here is a great example of why the shape of your glass really does matter. So red wines, look for a larger bowl. whites can be a little bit more narrow and you'll get a better experience with your wine. Cheers. Nice and golden brown. So here we're gonna mix our spice blend. Everything's gonna be in the description. Salt, sugar, and then garlic onion powder. We'll give that a little mix. Just a light drizzle of olive oil to coat. And then we're gonna add our spices blend. One of my best memories is while I was in study abroad in Seville, Spain, and I had tasted smoked paprika for the first time. It was in everything, the chorizo, all of the tapas, and it was such a unique flavor to me, and it really stayed with me. So now when I have that taste of the smoked paprika, it brings me back to those days being young and in college and experiencing a new culture. So when I have the chickpeas, that's what it reminds me of. But also when I was there every day for breakfast, I would have just plain bread dipped in olive oil. That was a standard breakfast. I ate a lot of it and then I walked a lot. So it was no issue at all. But I do have to have a little taste. I have an olive bread here with some olive oil. I have some fresh olives. These all go together really nicely. All right, so let's do the moment of truth. Let's see how we did with the smoked paprika, chickpeas, cumin, a little salt, a little sugar. How'd we do? Totally works. Amazing. Paired it. But seriously, the smokiness and the little bit of sweet and the salty is just a great match for the wine. Lots of balance here. So there's a lot of strong flavors in here, a lot of seasoning and spices, but it is not overpowered by the wine and it does not overpower the actual wine itself. So lots of harmony here. These flavors work really well together. This wine is one of those that you kind of need food to go with it. Sometimes you don't want a whole meal, so these crunchy smoked chickpeas are an amazing pairing just to have a little bite on the side with your Gran Reserva Rioja. Cheers.